All right, well, let me get to, and let me just be honest. I honestly thought like this is unconfirmed, but apparently it is confirmed. Yes, George is going to work on Hercules, an animated project. Now, okay, let me back up. Be fair. He already has, always did work on multiple projects. But is this symbolic of a problem? I think so. And also, let me also be fair that we know, because we are getting confirmation from various places, including George, that he's finished off a huge amount of Winds of Winter. So people panicking, oh, I'm never going to see Winds of Winter. I have no doubt Winds of Winter is going to come out in the next couple of years. The real question is he really going to finish off the series with Dream? And again, given the likelihood, probably not. At best, he'll finish off something in a draft. It will probably pass on to the estate, and probably Brandon Stephen King will have to, become a mutant creature and finish it off. Anyway, so and let me do a twofer because some people, I don't know why they're spreading these weird conspiracy theories in the comment section, but people are like, "Wow, you say where you came from?" That's why I'm doing this, dummy. Like, yes, what exactly is this channel about? Well, basically, it was a Game of Thrones channel. You can go back, like, I didn't even erase the videos, guys. You can go back to the earliest video. Just keep scrolling down. You're gonna see the first videos were all of them just Game of Thrones. I think I had some other stuff at the beginning too, but basically it was Game of Thrones. It was Game of Thrones, then Dune, Game of Thrones, Dune, and then I started doing more true crime, celebrity news, and then, that's where I am now, going back and forth between celebrities, true crime, fandoms, and we're back to Game of Thrones. So it's not a major mystery, but some people keep asking, oh, where are you from? It's Game of Thrones. And I'm going to just finish off the story. Like the other channels I had were focused on different things, and I just kept noticing, well, I want to do things on Game of Thrones. And that gets us back to here because it's like there's so much happening. So Dunkin' Egg was recently delayed, and there's been a lot of stirring, which I'll do in another video, that maybe a trailer is going to come out. Maybe it already did come out. I'll double check. So they're delaying it for a while. They do have it. Some people are like, oh, they didn't. No, they finished it. So this thing is literally on their shelf. Why they're not releasing it now, I don't know. Maybe to give Derry, the Stephen King thing, a chance. I don't know. I don't control HBO. All right, HBO is back too. So it's just a lot of back and forth. So is this really going to destroy any chance for the books to really be completed? I don't know. I don't know. I think the thing is that George always did multiple projects. I mean, so one is that, and by the way, I am closer to their stance that this is getting a little annoying what George keeps doing. And I've tried to stay off from these dumb videos that saying, finish the books, George. Why don't you just finish the books, George? And I've always tried to maintain the artist can do what the artist does. However, it is getting harder to justify when he does, 20 projects and just does not give this a priority. Now, granted, there were some valid excuses. I know George is a human being; he can do whatever he pleases. But before, it was like he was doing things in the universe, which I didn't even care about, like the fire, blood, more backstory stuff. I mean, some stuff there was fine, but huh? Like what? What? But then it was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do more Dunkin' Egg. It's like, okay, fine, I like Dunkin' Egg. So always did like more things in the universe. You could be like, okay, he's not finished off the main books, but all right, he's still doing kind of the Game of Thrones universe. But now it's like he just does projects that have really no connection whatsoever. They're part of his universe. Like he does have a universe. It's like Stephen King or Lucas or whoever. Like you can clearly tie these things together in a kind of Tolkienian mega myth mega legend that incorporates all these different pieces. There are threads throughout all his fictions, of course, but in terms of the main story, yeah, I mean, it's like where are we going to go with this? And again, want to be super fair to him before we do these usual dumb videos like, why don't you finish the books? This thing was meant to be a trilogy, right? It was never meant to be 7 books at the beginning. So we've always technically gotten extra books that he never planned for, right? So from one angle, people are like, this is an incomplete story. From another angle, we really did get many more stories than he ever intended. So you got to be balanced in how you look at George. Nevertheless, there are going to be problems, right? Because unless he officially finishes the books, which is fine for me, I like making money, but people are going to have like endless, and I mean endless discussions about theories and speculations like what happened to this character, what happened to that story, what about this plot gap? Was that a mistake? Did he intend the mistake? Etc. etc. All these different on so many different topics from Varys, Tywin, like who is a Targaryen, who's not a Targaryen, how do the dragons operate, how does the magic system really work, yada 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 yada. Like there are hints about right. I don't want to spoil the books, but like certain fake people, are they really who they say they are? Or are they really fake? Just all these different questions. We will be endlessly debating unless we have an official canon. And technically, George has confirmed and disconfirmed several things in interviews. I guess we could technically use that too, but that's the reason I think, just from a more book expert and super hardcore fan, right? Like, let me say very clearly, like I don't think the Game of Thrones books are really his best work. I think he kind of peaked with his vampire book. If you want his best work, just check that out. That's a really great book. And I don't think he's ever going to get back to that, which is fine. Some people peak early. It is what it is. So it's not like these are great fictions in that sense. Like these are the greatest fictions ever written, but they're pretty powerful and pretty solid. So you'd like this thing to be completed. My point is, when it comes to that vampire book, which nobody cares about, like that is written, that is done. George has made a statement. So from now on, George can say whatever he pleases. This is like George Lucas all over again. But that book is there. We now know what he at least originally intended, and we work through that book. He can do whatever he pleases, like say, oh, I meant this, I meant that, but we can just enjoy the fiction onto itself. We really can't do that with Game of Thrones yet, right? A Song of Ice and Fire now has massive pieces that are totally missing, right? So it's one of the weirdest things with George is that he gets annoyed that fans keep asking him. And by the way, there's something really strange even about this because, especially in America, people are just not reading anymore. So do people really care about these books? I don't think so. I think it is the show, right? The show left many fans unsatisfied. So they would like to know for themselves, is this really what he wanted? Because there's still a lot of people who are in denial with season 8, and we can't, I'm not even spoiling it. We all know what happened, right? Does he really plan to do that with Daenerys? And the answer is yeah, it seems like that was the plan from the get go. And people are just horrified that, again, the story would end up that way, but they want to know for sure officially. And I agree. So aside from the book lore expert people, who I include myself among, does anybody really care about the books? I don't think so. I think they just want a finality and say, okay, fine. You want to do your own thing, move on. We get that. Please finish this story because we just want to know for sure. We just want that book there in our own hands so we can make our own judgment. So, because without that, the floodgates are going to be open, and it's going to be everyone and their mother going to say, the real ending of the story is Danny turns into a dragon, which turns into a werewolf, and she just eats the whole world. That's as good a speculation as anything that he's telling us through interviews. So that's where we are. So again, I'm not like these other fans. Like if I don't literally see the official ending, like we know it's going to get completed, guys. We know he's going to hire people. We know that. We know that. But in any case, am I really going to be in tears that we don't get the official final book dream as he originally intended in his own brilliant mind? Not really, because again, I'm not obsessed with Game of Thrones in that degree. I just don't think this is as strong a fiction as his earlier work. But nevertheless, there are some stories I'm curious in, and some of the characters I'm very curious about. So I'm like, I would like to know. If I don't know, it's like, okay, we just don't know. That happens, right? Some works are incomplete, right? I mean, this happened with technically Wheel of Time, right? And I think Brandon Sanderson did a good job, actually, but still, that is not technically right, really Robert Jordan's vision. It is something that is a compromise. So it is what it is. It will probably be ironic that if, which is the probability that if some other writers or one writer finishes off his story that if like as I'm sure will happen eventually, we'll read the original notes and be like, that was just not a very good idea, or these were not very good ideas for these various characters and stories. But it is what it is. I enjoyed what George did for what he did. He did it primarily for himself. And again, I'm a latecomer to this fandom, so I want to not be as aggressive as some of these other fans. But I do think we are reaching like, come on, really, really, really. I mean, it's like this is becoming a running joke. I mean, it's like not even 10 years. It's well over 10 years, and we still haven't gotten the penultimate chapter to the saga. And even when Winds of Winter is finally given to us, let's say, what, next 2 years? Because it takes at least 1 year for this thing to get published. Okay, a miracle, it happens the next 2.5 years. We're going to have to wait, what, 20 years for the next one? And we all know probably George will die way before that. It is a little annoying. You can't just deny that as a human being, getting a little annoying. It's getting just a little annoying what he's doing. You got to be honest there.